So you're gonna rob, right? At some point there's gonna be bang, bang, bang.
Okay, here we go. Stand by outside. Stand by robbers. Action!
We all know getting our gun back in the fight as soon as possible is critical. Regardless if we're changing our mags, we have a malfunction, and we're doing it with one hand. We have to be able to problem solve. So in this scenario, one of my arms went down, and I had to be adaptable and get that gun back up in order to get back in the fight. These scenarios can happen anywhere, and we have to be able to think through things unconventionally. You could be carrying a baby, moving somebody in your environment, or your arm just goes down, whether you got shot or it's injured. No matter what we're given, we have to be able to problem solve and forge the will to fight at every opportunity. We have to open up our awareness regardless of what the environment is giving us. When it comes to this type of manipulation, there's three things that come to mind: an unconventional mindset, motor memory, and adaptability. When you think about an unconventional mindset, you have to be able to put that into context. Everybody's used to training in a static environment where they're conventional, where it's one dimension, where you're only thinking about one way of doing things. We have to be able to open it up. There's so many different training tools out there, like simulators and ranges with simunition and airsoft. You can do a lot of different things to be able to add that unconventional mindset. In this scenario, I ended up pinching my gun between my knees to get that magazine back in. The one thing that it did for me is it reduced my mobility, but I understand that and I'm willing to give that up because I can keep my awareness up. It's never gonna be the perfect scenario, and it's always gonna be unconventional. That's why when you look at a scenario like this with one arm down, I have to figure it out to get my gun back up. There's a lot of techniques, there's a lot of capabilities, and there's a lot of tactics that you guys can apply, but you have to be able to train on them, and you have to understand them. But when you pick something and you decide what works for you, you have to rep it over and over again. And that takes us to motor memory. To be able to be good, to be able to translate that under stress in reality, you have to get good reps in a training environment. Perfect practice makes perfect. You have to be able to get on the range and get good training in. You have to be able to spend that time to get good, solid reps in. When you look at creating solutions in a threat environment, you're gonna have stimulus, you're gonna have a high adrenaline, high heart rate. All these things are gonna be happening to you, which ultimately give you that unconventional scenario. The closer you get yourself to a threat dynamic, to what you think's gonna happen, the better off you're gonna be in training and the better off you're gonna be in reality. And the last thing is being adaptable. Problem solving and understanding how to use our environment, literally manipulating our environment to our advantage. So whether I have multiple attackers in a convenience store, or I'm out at a mall, or I'm at a church, we don't expect these things to happen to us, but what we have to understand is the constant is always gonna be us. What's in our heads and our capability to be able to apply to that environment. As long as we understand that, then no matter what scenario and context comes our way, we'll be able to handle it and we'll do it effectively.
Here we go, stand by. Setting camera. And action.
My first move is fully clearing my shirt material with my working hand to expose my pistol. Once the pistol's clear from the holster, I start to drop my elbow, rotating my arm upward as quick as possible. Keeping my eyes on the fight, I bring the sights into my focal plane. After taking multiple shots, the gun goes dry and the slide locks to the rear, triggering me to start my one-handed mag change. Keeping the gun in my workspace and my eyes in the fight, I hit the magazine release to eject the empty mag. As soon as the magazine is clear, I bring the gun in towards my knees in order to pinch the firearm to gain positive control. Once I have control, I can then manipulate my shirt to access my extra magazine. As soon as my magazine has cleared its holster, I then start pointing it directly towards the magwell. Directing the magazine into the magwell, I seat it with my palm. Next, I rack the slide along my pant leg material to get the next round into the chamber. Using the momentum of the slide rack, I start rotating my arm to bring the gun back up into my focal plane, picking up my front sights, and take shots if necessary. All right, wrapping up the debrief for this specific scenario. My arm was down and I had to do a mag change. The bottom line is that it comes down to problem solving. The three takeaways that we talked about is having an unconventional mindset, building good motor memory, and being adaptable. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. When you're training for reality, there is no pause button and there is no timeout. Nobody can throw the towel in for you. So that's exactly how you should be training. Remember, there's a lot of different ways to train: laser shot, simunition, airsoft, blue gun, all across the board. There's no excuses not to train. Utilize that slow motion video. Utilize your iPhones. Take that video, and we'll see you guys the next time we break down another move.